and welcome back to another Friday and another opportunity to learn something new. My name is Roxanne Pacheco. I am a clinical therapist certified in trauma and preventive medicine. And today we are going to be talking about a topic or a theme that I am actually very, very dear and passionate about. I will be talking about blended families, but I'm going to take it one step further. You see, today is Friday and tomorrow we're actually going to be celebrating the 4th of July. I would like to make a little pause here and thank everybody who has served in one capacity or another to give us the opportunity to celebrate 4th of July, a day for freedom and independence. On that note, tapping out on freedom, I would like to kind of make an emphasis on that. You see, a couple of days ago on July the 1st, many children left to their non-custodial parents' home to spend the month of July. Now this is how it typically is. This is the way that orders are according to the Attorney General. And for parents that are following typical orders, the month of July is a month where the non-custodial parent has access to one entire month of spending time with their child. So in recent weeks, I've been working with several children, teenagers, and even the custodial or non-custodial parents who are in the process of adjusting into what is expected for the month of July. Now keep in mind, I mentioned expected, because in reality, it depends on each and every unit what those expectations will be. The fact of the matter is that the majority of the kids that I see are children who do not necessarily have supportive parents, where there's communication between parents and where that child is being placed as a priority. As a matter of fact, and to be completely honest with you, it's actually quite the opposite. What I tend to see is that there is one parent or another who is deeply hurt and wounded because of the dynamics that occurred between them as a couple, and unfortunately, the pain is inflicted on the children and they are used as a pawn, as a way of hurting the other parent. Now, when we talk about abuse, usually we talk about sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, and we don't necessarily consider this to be a type of abuse. However, the ramifications to the child tend to cause low self-esteem, depressive symptoms, anxiety symptoms, believe it or not, many of the symptoms that are correlated with post-traumatic stress disorder. Here we see a lot of the nightmares, flashbacks, bedwetting, maybe intrusive thoughts, and the child is in a deep need to have those emotions regulated. And unfortunately, there is so much fear on behalf of that child because they don't have a safe connection with their primary caregiver, and they really don't have a connection with their other parent either. In the following weeks, we're going to be talking a little bit more about this, but I want to be sure that today, on this Friday, I provide some sort of hope. If you are the non-custodial parent, non-custodial means the parent who does not always have access to this child. In other words, the child does not live with you all the time. The custodial parent is a parent who the child lives with, that's their permanent home. And then of course we have the child. I don't have to explain what that is. Unfortunately, a lot of the times the child ends up acting like the adult, and the adult are really acting like children. Yes, I'm sorry I said it. I just had to. Now, on this case, when we are working with the children, when we are working with the teenagers, when we are in the process of seeing them and sending them off to the other parent's home, many of the children that are coming into therapy are coming in because they feel that they have to choose one side or the other, and it is not safe to love both parents at the same time. Keep in mind what I mentioned earlier. The child is being used as a pawn, and the child is in one way or another being manipulated or coerced to believe that the other parent is all bad and that one parent is all good. This leads to what we know as parental alienation. And there are certain warning signs that I can give to you that will kind of indicate if your child is experiencing parental alienation. One of these is exactly what I just mentioned. Either one parent is all good and the other parent is all bad, that is a warning sign. Because a child does not have the capacity to come up with that conclusion on themselves. Usually, a child will see the best of both parents, even to the point where there is physical abuse or any sexual abuse. The child will actually believe that that parent is treating them that way because they love them. Even in those cases, when the child is able to think for themselves, the child will think they are being loved. When they are being told information or put information in their little minds, they begin to believe those stories and those narratives to be true. Some of these narratives can go as far as, you're not loved, your dad or your mom doesn't love you, that's the reason why they left. They love the other children more, they don't love you, you're invisible, you're gonna go over there and nobody's gonna care for you. Nobody's gonna love you the way I love you. Aren't you gonna miss me? I'm gonna be very sad without you. Do any of those things ring a bell or sound familiar? All of these words, and parent, for 1 second, put your guard down and listen to actually listen and reflect rather than to react. Each and every one of those phrases that I just used are phrases that are hindering your child. They are actually a method of abuse, psychological abuse, which will have irreparable damage if they don't go through a process of therapy, treatment, or whatnot. I would like to encourage you today to set your own pain aside and to focus on what your child needs. I would like for you, non-custodial parent, to understand that when your child goes to your home, it's going to take a little while for them to actually put their own guard down and allow themselves to be loved and to receive love and to give love. I would like to let the non-custodial parent know that just because your child goes to the other house does not mean that they don't love you. It just means that two people created this one child, and it was never their responsibility to choose between mom or dad. That was never their responsibility. Their responsibility was simply to allow themselves to be loved and to love as well. The choices and the consequences between mom and dad as a couple do not belong to the child. Let's stop punishing children for consequences that never belonged to them. They never made that choice. If it would have been their choice, you would still be together. But the fact of the matter is that that didn't happen. So today I want to encourage us, as we talk about freedom, as we talk about, everything that freedom stands for, let's allow those children to actually experience freedom. And let's allow them to rid themselves from the spirit of bondage that is holding them down and that is not allowing them to really be a child. Many times we take away their capacity to be children because we have now placed new responsibilities on them. And those responsibilities sometimes include making sure that mom or dad is going to be okay. So today, this is a message that I have for you. I want to remind you, Romans 8:28, all things work for our good. Perhaps mom or dad, perhaps you're still hurt with your process of divorce. Perhaps you have work that you need to do on your end. I invite that you take this month of July to actually work on you, to allow yourself to forgive not only the other person, but most importantly, forgive yourself for the damage that has been caused or the damage that you have caused. And the non-custodial parent, enjoy your child. Truly enjoy. No asking questions. How are they treating you? What is your mom or dad saying about me? What is this? What is that? Do they feed you? Stop it with the asking questions. Just enjoy your child and allow them to be free. Learn about them. Ask them questions. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you want to go? What's your favorite movie? Spend time actually learning about one another. Because as I mentioned before, there is such a term as parental alienation, and I will go more into that in the following video. However, if you are focused on your child and your child is focused on you, there is very little that another parent can say to your child that would make your child doubt that you actually love him or her. Think about it. That's my greatest recommendation for you, non-custodial parent. Focus on your time with the child. Stop asking questions. Stop making it their responsibility to solve problems that never belong to them. And allow them to get to know a different side of you, to get to bond with that parent that so many times they have to fight so hard for, and they do so in silence. So I end with, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Because the Spirit of the Lord is what's going to bring peace, love, unity, self-control into your home. And that is exactly where freedom comes for your child. I look forward to seeing you in 1 week. I remind you that if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with somebody else, provide me with a comment. If you've experienced this, please let me know what has worked for you, or what are your challenges when you are working through this that a lot of the times seems like a big, huge mess that you're just never gonna get out of. I look forward to seeing you next week for another one-on-one.